our servants.
Right.
They'll serve us. But the so-called black man don't want to hear that. He didn't want to hear the white man supposed to be his servant. You're supposed to be happy about that.
Absolutely.
You telling me you're happy about being a white man's servant? That ain't nothing to be glad about. That's nothing to be happy about. Can you, I'm gonna switch out.
Go ahead. Let me switch out right quick.
So back in the curse in Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee. All the curses shall come upon us, the children of Israel. Children of Israel. What is the curses? Being slaughtered out of our land and being thrown into slavery. That's a part of our curse, according to the Bible. For the reason that we didn't keep the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High said to keep. The reason why he put the children of Israel in slavery under our enemies is because we didn't keep his commandments. But it shall come to pass. The Most High said, it's going to come to pass. If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe it, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee. Part of that curse is in slavery. Back in verse Deuteronomy 28:68, on the reason why the so-called black man has been put on slave ships, the Most High used the white man to do that because we didn't keep his commandments. So he said all these curses shall come upon us. Being in the ghetto. Being in the ghetto is a curse from the Most High. To the chosen people. We are the chosen people according to the Bible. The reason why the Most High used the white man to put us in slavery because we didn't keep his commandments as a chosen people. So he used the heathens to put us in slavery and to put us in the ghettos. Because we didn't keep his commandments as a chosen people of the Most High. And y'all don't want to keep his commandments. Y'all want to go and shake your ass on YouTube and party and bullshit. That's why the Most High got you in slavery right now in this so-called white man. Because you don't want to keep his commandments. You don't want to do what the Lord said to do. That's why the Most High is going to burn you up if you don't repent. It's going to be an election of us, according to the Bible, that's going to get salvation. And salvation is only for the children of Israel. Salvation is not for the world, which is representing the heathens. The Most High is not dealing with the heathens. Salvation is for the children of Israel, the so-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Dominicans, the Mexicans, and so forth. You are the children of Israel, the chosen people of God in the Bible. That's why the white man don't like you, because you're the chosen man. You're the chosen of the Most High in the Bible, and you need to keep his commandments. That's why the Lord had our enemies back in 70 AD to run us out of our land, put us in slavery. That's why the Most High allowed the Africans to sell us for wine to the so-called white man, so he could put us in cargo slave ships. The Most High did that to us because we, as his chosen people, didn't want to keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. But it shall come to pass. Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee. We're going to prove a part of the curse is being a slave to the so-called white man.
Right.
The Most High put us in slavery to the so-called white man because we didn't keep his commandments. So back in 70 AD, he allowed these white men to come and invade our land and put us in slavery and had us to run into Africans, and we was oppressed by the Africans. That's the curse that God is talking about. On verse 47. Give me that.
Deuteronomy 28:47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart.
Back in the year 70 AD, we didn't serve the Lord, our God, with joyfulness and with gladness, keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. So guess what he did? Back in 70 AD, go ahead.
For the abundance of all things, verse 48, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
Back in 70 AD, we were slaughtered by the so-called white man and his armies. And we ran to the west interiors of Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution, which was the so-called white man. The Lord did that to us because we didn't keep his laws, statutes, and commandments.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against
The
them.
Most High sent them against us. The Most High sent our enemies against us. Yes, the Most High is real. God exists. And his chosen people is the children of Israel.
That's right.
The same people in the ghettos. The same people that's filled in the jail systems. The same people being oppressed in the ghettos.
That's right.
Rapping and singing. Shaking their ass. Selling out. Those same people are the Most High's chosen people. And they are in the direction that they are in because they didn't keep the commandments of the Most High.
Hey, excuse me. What religion is this?
It's not a religion. This is the Bible.
Oh, that's from the Bible?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Go ahead out.
In hunger and in thirst and in nakedness.
That's why now we enslaved in the system to this day. And who do we gotta go to get a job, to get food? We gotta go to the so-called white man system. That's a curse according to the Most High. The Most High put us in this predicament to be slaves to the so-called white man system because we didn't keep his commandments, his laws, statutes, and commandments. So he had us to serve our enemies in hunger and thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. Go ahead.
And in nakedness and in one of all things.
One of all things, to be rich. You name it. Job, career, we got to go in his system.
That's right.
That's a curse. It happened to the children of Israel because we didn't keep his law, statutes, and commandments. The Most High said to the children of Israel, if ye love me, ye will keep my commandments. Are you keeping his commandments? You people out here walking and driving around and stuff. Are you keeping the Most High's commandments? Because if you don't repent and keep it, it's going to come to the point where you're going to get burned up by the ICBM missiles. You're going to get AIDS, HIV, you're going to get herpes, you're going to get thrown in jail by the white man, and so forth. Well,
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
that's slavery. He shall put a yoke of iron upon our neck. Has that not happened to you? So-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Haitians. Has that not happened to you? The so-called white man put a yoke of iron around your neck to be his servant. And the Most High allowed him to do that because we, as the chosen men of the Bible, which is children of Israel, we didn't keep the commandments of the Most High. His law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. So he allowed us to serve our enemies. And we're serving our enemies to this very day. Go ahead.
Until we have destroyed thee.
And we are destroyed this very day. Who's destroyed? So-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Puerto Ricans. You're destroyed. You're destroyed in the land of your enemies. Why is that? What's that? In Baruch chapter 3 and 8. Why is the so-called black man destroyed? Why is the so-called Negro, West Indian, Haitian, Puerto Ricans? Why is y'all destroyed? Because you didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. So he allowed the so-called white man to put you in slavery, to put you in his jail systems, to make a mockery of you in the land of your enemies. Why is that? Go ahead.
Baruch chapter 3 verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity.
We are yet this day slaves to the so-called white man system. Why is that? Because we didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High as his chosen people. Read that.
Baruch 3 and 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity.
We are in captivity. We are in slavery. We are slave in the white man's system.
That's right.
As a curse.
All right, my brother.
The black man doesn't own his house. He doesn't own anything. School system, nothing. Land, nothing. You are in captivity. Because you didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. So what happened to us? Our women became whores. And now in the men, the black man became a thug and a retard.
Yep.
Because we didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Go ahead.
And it reads, where thou hast scattered us.
Where the Most High put us. And he used the so-called white man to do that to us because we didn't keep his law, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead.
For a reproach and a curse.
For a reproach and a curse. It is a curse to be a slave to the so-called white man. It is a curse to be a slave in the so-called white man's system. It's a curse to go to the system to get a job. It's a curse. You ain't supposed to be his slave. He ain't supposed to own you.
It's supposed to be his.
Come on. Go ahead.
And to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power.
We paying for the sins of our forefathers, and we praying for our sins. What's the payments? The curses that the Most High said that was going to happen to us if we don't keep his commandments. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Hear, Israel, the commandments of life.
The Most High wants us to hear his commandments. That's part of the reason why we fell as a nation. Because we did not keep his commandments. You tell a black man in today's time about the Most High's commandments, he's going to call you lame. He's going to call you a square. He's going to call you lame. He's lame. Probably got HIV. The Most High wants us to keep his commandments. Go ahead.
Give ear to understand wisdom.
The Most High said give ear to understand wisdom. That wisdom is talking about the laws, statutes, and commandments. That's the wisdom. The words of the Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 10. How happened it, Israel? Thou art in thine enemy's land.
How did that happen? How did you become in your enemy's land? How did that happen? How did you become a slave in the so-called white man system in today's time? How did that happen? You came from physical slavery to systematic slavery. How did that happen? So-called Negroes, West Indian, Haitians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans. How did that happen? How do you come in the land of your enemies to be his servants? How did that happen? You didn't keep the law, statutes, and the commandments of the Most High. That's how it happened. So the Most High used the so-called white man to put the so-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Dominicans, in slavery.